Let's build Homelander from the boys in Dungeons & Dragons as a playable character. We need to sort out both his public persona as well as, of course, all of his powers. Because he's got superhuman strength, basically invulnerability, superhuman speed, superhuman stamina, superhuman healing, superhuman hearing, superhuman smell, heat vision, flight, regenerative healing, and basically an evil Superman. So let's go ahead and start off with the species. While Homelander is kind of an altered human, I need to make sure that we can cover one of his abilities right away, so we're going to go with an Aasimar. This gives us dark vision, healing hands, which will allow us to heal ourselves immediately, allowing you to use a magic action to roll a number of d4s equal to your proficiency bonus and regain a number of hit points equal to whatever you rolled, which you can only use once per long rest, and it gives us Celestial Revelation. So once you hit at least level 3, you can transform using a bonus action. And then once on each of your turns before the transformation ends, you deal extra damage to one target when you damage them with an attack or spell. The extra damage equals your proficiency bonus, and it's either necrotic or radiant damage. Then on top of that, you get a type of transformation. Part of the reason I wanted to go with an Aasimar, despite the fact that it immediately gives us some healing, is that it gives us heavenly wings. Because in D&D, there are only so many ways to be able to fly, and a lot of them require concentration. And we don't want to be forced to use our concentration when flying, so the access to heavenly wings is pretty helpful for that, because it gives us some spectral wings that gives us a flying speed equal to our walking speed. We can also transform with Inner Radiance, dealing some radiant damage to creatures within 10 feet of us, or Necrotic Shroud, forcing a saving throw or making creatures frightened of us. Then when it comes to a background, we could go with Entertainer. He is definitely a bit of a showman, but he's also basically conning people at the same time, so we're going to go with Charlatan. This gives us skill proficiencies in Deception and Sleight of Hand, and it gives us the Skilled feat, so we get more skill proficiencies. So we'll grab Performance, Intimidation, and Perception. Performance and Intimidation are pretty self-explanatory, but Perception is just generally helpful to have. Then we're going to min-max those ability scores with a point spread that looks like this, really focusing in on Dexterity, Constitution, and Charisma. And I know he's got super strength, but we can still hit hard without strength in D&D. And because his public persona is so incredibly important, we're going to go ahead and start off with a Bard. Becoming a Bard gives us some more skill proficiencies. So we'll go ahead and grab Persuasion, Insight, and Athletics. Also at first level of Bard, we get Bardic Inspiration. So you get a number of D6s equal to your Charisma modifier. Those D6s upgrade to larger dice at certain levels of Bard, becoming a D8 at level 5, a D10 at level 10, and a D12 at level 15. You can use a bonus action to inspire another creature within 60 feet of yourself, allowing them to add it to any D20 test. Also at first level of Bard, we get some spell casting. So we'll grab Vicious Mockery for a bit of insulting your enemies, dealing D6s of psychic damage and forcing disadvantage on their next attack roll, and Blade Ward for a bit more defense. When it comes to some first level spells, we can grab Charm Person, Cure Wounds for some more self-healing, and Heroism for an early access to self-regeneration, because Heroism allows you to gain temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting modifier at the start of each of your turns. Then when it comes to making sure that you can hit somebody pretty hard, we don't have a lot of access to anything in the Bard spell list, but we can still send out a Thunderous Boom, and I can play that off as a big punch, so we'll grab Thunder Wave. It can push people away and hit them decently hard. Then make sure to also grab Silvery Barbs, just because it's generally always good to have in your arsenal. Then at second level of Bard, you get access to Expertise in 2 skills, doubling your proficiency bonus with them. So we'll boost up our Deception and Intimidation, because anybody that knows the truth about Homelander is pretty damn intimidated. Second level of Bard also gives us Jack of all trades. Granted, this won't actually help us as much because we have the Skilled feat, but Jack of all trades will give us half our proficiency bonus in any skill that we aren't proficient in. Then at third level of Bard, we get to choose a Bard subclass. And I want to focus more on punching and physicality, so we'll grab the College of Dance. It was added in the 2024 Player's Handbook, and it's got a great amount of potential. It starts off by giving you the feature Dazzling Footwork, so you get a bunch of stuff with this, including Dancing Virtuoso, so you have advantage on any charisma performance check that you make that involves you dancing, which I don't really picture Homelander being much of a dancer, but you can just probably roleplay it as any sort of performance, as long as your dungeon master is okay with that. You get unarmored defense, so your armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your charisma modifier. You get agile strikes, so when you expend one of your bardic inspirations as part of an action, bonus action, or reaction, you can make one unarmed strike as part of that same usage. And that's amped up by bardic damage that you now get from this feature. Because now you can use your dexterity modifier instead of your strength for your attack rolls with unarmed strikes, and your damage that you deal with that unarmed strike deals bludgeoning damage equal to whatever you roll on your bardic inspiration die. And it also uses your dexterity modifier for the damage as well, while not expending any bardic inspiration when punching this way. So you have a single attack as an action, but if you use your bonus action for bardic inspiration, you can punch again that way. And if you find a way to use your reaction for bardic inspiration, you can punch that way as well. Also at 3rd level, you get access to 2nd level spells, and we don't have a lot of great ways to get heat vision, at least not yet, but we can still kind of play it up with heat metal, which is frankly an amazing spell because you can heat up any metal that a creature is wearing or holding, and it automatically deals 2d8 fire damage. And every bonus action after that, you can deal that 2d8 again. There's no saving throw, it just deals the damage. And if a creature really wants to hang on to an object after that, they have to make a Constitution saving throw just to hold on to it. But if they're wearing it, they're just kind of screwed, taking the damage over and over again. And no matter what, if they're in contact with whatever's heating up, they have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Then one other spell I would grab, which you can play up as Homelander just being so damn intimidating, is Gift of Gab. This allows you to reshape memories of your listeners. It comes from Acquisitions Incorporated, but it's something you can play up as you're just scaring the crap out of somebody so much because of how powerful you are that they just kind of believe whatever you're saying. Then at 4th level of Bard, you get an ability score improvement. So let's go ahead and boost up our dexterity for now because that's going to help more with punching stuff. Then at 5th level of Bard, you get Font of Inspiration. So you can regain Bardic Inspiration on a short or long rest instead of just waiting for a long rest. And you can just expend a spell slot to regain one of your bardic inspirations whenever you need to. And remember, you can always be inspiring your own allies, whether they're other heroes or whatever, but you can inspire random commoners as well, in case you want to always make sure that you're getting an extra punch in with your bonus action. Also at 5th level, you get access to 3rd level spells. And I was tempted to grab Motivational Speech just because it's kind of fitting for Homelander, but this would boost up everybody with some temp HP, and you don't usually actually want to heal other people. So instead, I'd actually grab Slow. You move so fast that it makes it seem like other people are just moving slow, and that's what I'm going to stick to for this idea. You alter time for up to 6 creatures of your choice within a 40-foot cube. The target's speed becomes halved, they take a -2 penalty to their armor class and dexterity saving throws, and they can't take reactions. Then, on their turns, they can either take an action or bonus action, but not both. And no matter what, they can only make one attack if it takes the attack action. And if it tries to cast any sort of spell, there's a 25% chance the spell is just gonna fail because the target is just moving too slowly. Then at 6th level of Bard, you get Inspiring Movement. So when an enemy you can see ends its turn within 5 feet of you, you can use a reaction to expend one of your bardic inspiration to move up to half of your speed. And then one ally of your choice within 30 feet of you can also move half their speed using their reaction. Neither of those movements is going to provoke an opportunity attack. And remember, this is another way to use a bardic inspiration, meaning you get another punch in from this. Also at 6th level, you get Tandem Footwork. So when you roll your initiative, you can expend one use of your bardic inspiration, and each ally within 30 feet of you gets a bonus to their initiative roll equal to whatever you roll. Then at 7th level of Bard, you get Counter Charm. So a creature within 30 feet of you can re-roll a saving throw against being charmed or frightened, and you can take a reaction to force that re-roll to be at advantage. You also get access to 4th level spells. And to make sure nobody locks you down, I'd grab Freedom of Movement, making it so you can't be paralyzed or restrained. You get a swim speed equal to your walking speed, and in general, your speed just can't be reduced. And then I also want to make sure we can boost up your damage a little bit, so we'll grab Fount of Moonlight. It wreathes your body in some bright light, and any of your melee attacks deal an extra 2d6 radiant damage on a hit. And if a creature tries to hit you while you have this active, if they deal damage to you, you can use your reaction to force it to make a Constitution saving throw and force it to become blind if it fails. Then at 8th level of Bard, let's boost up that punching with a bit more dexterity, thanks to an ability score improvement. And then at 9th level of Bard, you get access to 5th level spells. And one spell that I think would really fit for Homelander, thanks to his general persona, is Yolanda's Regal Presence. So you surround yourself with unearthly majesty in a 10-foot emanation. And whenever a creature enters your emanation space, or they end their turn there, they have to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, they take 4d6 psychic damage, and they're immediately prone, and you can push them 10 feet away. It's almost like they get too close to you, realize how powerful you are, fall to their knees out of pure fear, taking damage, and then you're basically just kicking them 10 feet away. But on a successful save, the target still takes half damage, and they don't have any other effects. Also at 9th level, you get expertise and 2 more skills, so we'll boost up that performance and your perception, because we don't have a lot of great ways to grab x-ray vision, so just boosting up our perception as much as possible is probably the most helpful. And then I was really tempted to multi-class into Sorcerer to make sure we get Scorching Ray for a bit better heat vision, but we don't really need to do that as a bard, because at level 10, we get magical secrets. So you get to learn secrets from other types of spellcasting, and they count as bard spells, allowing you to dip into bard, cleric, druid, or wizard spell lists. So now any spell that you choose can be from any of those spell lists. So now we can really round things out a bit better. You want to hit everything all around you without having to burn up a bunch of bardic inspiration? Grab Sword Burst for a cantrip. It hits everything around you, dealing force damage so you can play it off as plenty of punching. You want to use your heat vision a bit more often? Grab Firebolt for your cantrip. You want to really boost up that heat vision? Grab Agonazer's Scorcher. A line of roaring flame 30 feet long and 5 feet wide just blasts out from you, forcing a dexterity saving throw, and dealing 3d8 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a success. And that's a 2nd level spell, so for every upcast beyond 2nd level, it deals another d8. Or similarly, you can grab Scorching Ray, another 2nd level spell that does 2d6 fire damage, hurling out 3 fiery rays, even though you only have 2 eyes, but you're just blasting pretty quickly. And that 2d6 fire damage happens for each one of those rays. Then you can dish out an additional ray for each spell slot above 2nd level. To boost up your speed, we gotta grab Haste, because it'll boost up your armor class by +2, it'll double your movement speed, it'll give you advantage on dexterity saving throws, and you get a whole extra action. Then if you really want to boost up your damage output, grab Conjure Minor Elementals. I've done this before, but it creates a 15-foot emanation around you, and until the spell ends, any attack you make deals an extra 2d8 damage. It can be any sort of elemental damage, but this also increases by 1d8 for every spell slot above the base level of 4th level. So you can upcast the crap out of this, and your punches are going to deal way more damage. Because upcasting this all the way to 9th level means you're dealing an extra 7d8 damage for each one of your punches. I would grab Fly, but we don't need it thanks to being an Aasimar. And as you level up, you get to grab some more spells, so I want to grab those right away, because we need to cover the unkillable nature of you, and we'll grab Death Ward. It basically gives you an extra life. But then at 11th level of Bard, you get access to 6th level spells. And if you really want to hammer in on that heat vision, make sure to grab Disintegrate, which basically just turns somebody to ash, and Sunbeam, blasting out a bunch of heat, dealing 6d8 radiant damage in a 60-foot line emanating from you. And you can go ahead and blast that out every single action after you cast it the first time, just concentrating on it for up to a minute. And then at 12th level of Bard, we need to boost up that charisma score because we already maxed out our dexterity, and that's our next most important stat right now. Then at 13th level of Bard, you get access to 7th level spells. And we gotta make sure that we're able to grab something else to boost up that regenerative healing factor with Regenerate. It is an insanely powerful spell. It takes a minute to cast, but it allows you to regain 4d8 plus 15 hit points. And then You regain 1 hit point at the start of each of your turns, and even severed body parts regrow after 2 minutes. And this is a non-concentration spell that just lasts for an hour. So you can cast this and then just let it do its work, making it so you are even more unkillable. At 14th level of Bard, you get leading evasion, so for the times that you do want to pretend like you're actually a hero, whenever you're forced to make a dexterity saving throw to avoid taking damage, you only take half damage. And if you succeed on the saving throw, you take 0 damage instead. But you can also apply this to a creature within 5 feet of you, kind of protecting them at the same time. Then at 15th level of Bard, you get access to 8th level spells. And I don't see that there's a whole lot worth taking here, unless you want just another way to boost up your heat vision with Sunburst, but that's more of a giant sphere, so I wouldn't even bother taking it, because it doesn't feel true to character. Then at 16th level of Bard, you get another ability score improvement, so let's go ahead and max out that charisma. And then at 17th level of Bard, you get access to 9th level spells, the most powerful spellcasting in all of D&D. And there's 2 spells at this level that would work for Homelander. There is Invulnerability, making you immune to all damage until the spell ends. It only takes an action to cast, and you can concentrate on it for up to 10 minutes. But another amazing spell is Foresight. It's absolutely awesome because it only takes a minute to cast, and it lasts a full 8 hours, giving you advantage on every d20 roll that you have to do, while at the same time forcing other creatures to have disadvantage on any attack rolls against you. 18th level of Bard gives you superior inspiration, so when you roll initiative, you regain expended uses of bardic inspiration until you have at least 2 if you had any fewer than that, making sure that you always get at least 1 bonus action or reaction attack as a dance bard. 19th level of Bard gives us an epic boon, and one thing we didn't focus on quite enough was the super speed. Granted, we do have haste, but if you don't want to cast that because you want to focus on being able to use other stuff, because haste is going to force you to use up your concentration, we can also grab the boon of speed. This allows us to boost one ability score by 1 point. It doesn't matter which one we boost up because it'll basically put everything to an odd number, and odd numbers and ability scores don't matter in D&D, but it gives you the feature Escape Artist. So as a bonus action, you can take the disengage action, automatically ending any grappled condition on you, and your speed is automatically increased by 30 feet. I would have usually grabbed something that boosts up our health, but we have so many ways to constantly avoid damage and heal ourselves that it's kind of pointless, so boosting up our speed just kind of makes the most sense. Then at 20th level of Bard, you get Words of Creation. So you automatically master 2 Words of Creation, allowing you to always have Power Word Heal and Power Word Kill prepared. And if you go ahead and use either of these spells, you can target a second creature as long as it's within 10 feet of the original target. And having that on Power Word Kill is pretty damn powerful. So that means we have the default flight from being an Aasimar. We have plenty of regenerative healing between the Aasimar healing, the healing spells, the regenerate spell. We have plenty of heat vision with Scorching Ray and Sunbeam and all the other stuff we grabbed. We have superhuman hearing and smell with our expertise in perception, which unfortunately is the only way we're also going to have to cover our x-ray vision. You're going to kind of just have to know something is behind something with your expertise in perception, because there's not a lot of great ways to get x-ray vision otherwise, and that is basically the only thing we're kind of missing for this build. And you get almost invulnerability, and we have that with invulnerability, death ward, and the side effect of having regenerate. And then we have pretty solid superhuman strength, being able to punch pretty hard with our bardic inspiration die, or just boosting that up with other spells like Conjure Minor Elementals, really boosting up our damage, allowing us to fully build Homelander as a playable character in D&D. If you want access to a full-blown character sheet for this entire build or any of my other builds, feel free to check out my Patreon, and if you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and I'll be here hoping you roll at least 3 nat 20s in your next D&D session, especially if you want to play as a deceptively evil hero like Homelander from The Boys in Dungeons & Dragons.